Yes, welcome to DC Economics. So I'm going to take you through theory of production. So in this lecture, we are going to begin by understanding what is production. Production, this is a process by which inputs are combined and transformed and turned into output. So firms vary in size and internal organization, but they all take inputs and transform them into goods and services for which there is the same demand. So in economics, production is concerned with defining condition of maximizing output within the intermediate goal of maximizing output or utility. So given the scarce resources, farmers must ration their use. So there are different ways of combining now those resources to produce large volume of output. Therefore, this now necessitates the efficient way of choosing the best combination. That's why in choosing the best combination, we must apply now the concept, the knowledge about production. So to this lecture, there are several issues that you as a learner, you must capture after the end of listening. After the ending of this video, there are several issues you need to cover throughout production. So at the end of this lecture, as a learner, you should understand, define production and factors of production, to explain the production function and various categories of production function. Third one, to explain the relationship among various production parameters, example, total product, average product, marginal product, and even elasticity of product. Fourth, to explain the explicit stages of production. And fifth, you should be able to outline and define various types of cost of production. So we are going to begin by looking on the factors of production. Factors of production. A factor of production is anything that contributes to the output. For example, it can be animal feed, labor, factories, or capital, and so forth. So normally, the volume of production is determined partly by the factors of production. And actually, these factors of production include land, labor, and capital, together with management, or we sometimes call it an entrepreneur. So let's get a deep analytics on these factors of production. Let's begin with land. Land refers to the general characteristics of a given area, and it includes things like man-made features. It can be farms, roads, and terraces, and so forth. So capital is usually used to expand the improvement of supply of land. So for example, irrigation of dry land, drainage or waterlogged areas of operation of fertilizers. This makes it rather difficult to differentiate between land and other factors of production. Land has the following features. It is a gift of nature. The payment of land is rent. Demand for land is derived to another. Location of land is fixed. Land provides a site place where production can take place, like schools, industries, roads, builds, and land. Land lacks geographical mobility. It cannot be moved or transported from one place to another. You cannot transform your land from one place to another. Even if you wish to make a huge investment in a particular another area. Let's talk about labor. Labor refers to any mental or physical effort made by human beings in the process of production, or any mental or physical efforts of human being for any beneficial activities or productivity activities. Example of labor: a doctor treating people, teacher teaching, a farmer cultivating land, a carpenter make furniture, and etc. For example, if a mother at home looks after her baby without any payment from the husband, her work cannot be regarded as labor. Or if a person plays music just for recreation, then playing music in that situation cannot be regarded as labor. Most of the producers are not interested in the mere number of people in their business, but in their productivity. That is how much work is done than the size of labor force that they count. So most of the managers who owns companies and firms normally realize the contribution of labor by cross-checking on how much labor contributes to the output of that firm. Let's talk about features of labor. The payment of labor is wage or salaries. Labor is the most mobile factor in both geographical and occupational sense, since he or she can move from one place to another, can work in different areas. Labor cannot be separated from laborers. And the supply of labor increases with the increase in wages. That is, when wage increases, the supply of labor also increases. But also, this is a graph that shows on how when wage increases, also the supply of labor increases. So if wage shifts from wage 1 to wage 2, we expect to see the quantity of labor moves from Q1 to Q2. So when wage increases, also the supply of labor increases, and vice versa is true. When wage decreases, also the supply of labor decreases. What does mean by saying supply of labor? The supply of labor means that the total number of people, that is men, women, children, who are willing and able to work, that is meaning of supply of labor. So it can also be referred to as the total number of people available for employment. Let's discuss about the factors determine supply of labor. First one is the population of a country. If the country is highly populated with many people, this means that even the supply of labor will be high than the country with low people, with small number of people. Education and training. If people are educated and trained, the supply of labor will be high, different from the country where people are not trained. They has got no any education. Years of training and schools also. If the number of years of schooling and training is very high, it may affect the supply of labor since people may be hiding into their school learning. So you'll find that labor supply decreases. Mobility of labor also. If a worker has a chance to shift from one occupation to another geographical, this may increase the supply of labor, and vice versa is true. But also the issue of retirement age. If the retirement age is long, the supply of labor will be high, unlike today when the retirement age is short. So also the degree to which trade unions are able to control recruitment. This means that if the trade unions policies sometimes restrict the interactions between movement or mobility of labor, this may be a problem to the supply of labor. Degree of substitutability as well. When labor can easily be substituted, its supply tends to be low than when the labor becomes difficult to be substituted in one way or another. But also, work incentives is also the factor that determines the supply of labor. If workers in particular industries are provided with various kinds of incentives, such as meal, bonuses, transport allowances, promotion schedules, etc., automatically the supply of labor will be high in the industries, unlike to an industry where nothing is given to an incentive to workers. Professional restrictions. In some professions like medicine, accountants, engineers, has got some professional boards. For example, in Tanzania, these boards control and most of the time take control and protect the standard of the professionalism. So that may limit the supply of labor since some people miss to be under-regulated on those boards. Let's come to another factor of production, that is capital. Capital refers to all man-made assets that help land and labor to provide output. For example, of capital include machinery building, cash payments, improvement on the land such as furrows, irrigation scheme, and etc. Capital can be categorized in some groups. We have what is known as liquid capital, working capital, and fixed capital. Liquid capital, this is a cash in hand that bank deposits and etc. Working capital, this includes raw materials production, example fuel, fertilizer, feeds, etc. Fixed capital, these are producer goods used in the production process, but can't themselves be used up or administered in the production process. For example, buildings, machineries, equipment, and etc. Let's discuss the features of capital. The payment of capital is interest rate, R. And the capital is a factor of production which increases efficient to other factor of production because it is simplified work. But also, unlike land, capital is made by human beings, so it is not provided freely for nature. But also, another features of capital is that the supply of fixed capital cannot be increased in the short run because they take a long time to be produced. So, for that case, also the capital can depreciate or become absolutely. So most of the capital forms cannot work alone without combination with other factors like labor. That is another features of capital. Where capital cannot work alone without combination of other factors like labor. It has an element of time. Capital renders its services over a certain period of time, and payment depends on the length of the time in which it is used in the process of production. For example, the interest on loanable capital deposit deprays on a specific period of time, like 3 months, 6 months, or a year. Let's discuss the last factor of production, that is management entrepreneur. Management is a process of decision making. It is clearly different from production in the form of labor. So the manager uses like his knowledge and judgment uh, to make sure that he comes up with good ideas that can be manageable so as he can attain the profit and not loss. So without management, factors could not be organized. There would be no output produced due to lack of organization of various inputs. So entrepreneur is a risk taker and is a records of everything. So his profit depends on on payment of other factors of production. Let's discuss the functions of entrepreneur: to start business, to employ and organize other factors of production, to forecast the demand for product by doing market research, to bear the risk of business, but also to make economic decisions such as what to produce and where to produce. Let's jump to categories of production relationship. Categories of production relationship. So the relationship between factors of production, that is inputs and output, can be classified under the three broad categories. We have factor-product relationship. Second, we have the factor-factor relationship. And third one, we have product-product relationship. Factor-factor product relationship is where we look at the relationship between the input factor and the output produced. Factor-factor relationship is where we consider to look on the different two types of factor, input factor production that are applied in production of output. Product-product relationship is where we look on the different changes of output level that are produced. So the relationship between the what is produced on the different changes and levels. So for our focus, we are going to stick more on a factor-product relationship. So under factor-product relationship, this is the relationship between factors of production inputs and product outputs. So this relationship depends on the planning period, which can be short run or long run. So under short run production period, in this period at least one of the factor input is fixed and only one varies. So if you apply labor, you keep fixed capital. So that is how it is applied by the producers. So due to the presence of fixed factors, the law of diminishing returns operates in the short run. So in this period, output increases with adding more units of variable inputs. For example, increasing of output for production can be realized by adding more units of labor and capital in the production process, given that land is fixed. Under long-run production periods, in this period, a producer has a potential time for varying all production factors. If the producer is using capital and labor, he actually have an adjustment to increase or reduce capital and labor. So this time, a rice farmer can buy more land, irrigating dry land, or train his top management and etc. So this is the producer's increased yield output by adding or expanding the size of business, involving employing more units of factor production. That is both variable and fixed. Let's come to production function. Production function. Production function, this is a mathematical and technical relationship between output produced and the factor of production used to produce the output. Production function can be expressed as the form of chart or table, form of graph, and form of equation. So if you want to look at the relationship between the between the output produced and the factor of production, is to actually consider to speak about production function. Let's observe the first way of representing the production function, that is the form of charts. Suppose we have the units of capital, and we have the units of labor, and we have the resulting level of output. So we have unit of capital that is constant 1, unit of labor is 1, 2, 3, and 4, and your output is 10, 20, 30, and 40. So this is a simple illustration of how you can represent the relationship between the output produced and input by using the table. So here is where you can present out the graph. So we sketch out the unit of labor, the unit of output, and the unit of labor, the units of input, factor of production. So our graph will go positively. Our graph looks as a positive relationship. This means that it's going upward. So when input increases, this means that output increases. For example, if the input increases to is 1, the output is 10. And if the input is 2, the output is 20. And if the output increases to 3, the output is 30. So the way you increase input is the way you increase the output level. So let's look on how we need also to cross-check on how we can present out the form of equation. So the equation, the output level is a function of labor, is a function of labor in capital. So this is how we present the equation relationship between the input and the output. So F represents the function, L represents the labor units, K represents the capital units. Now, for example, let's consider this equation here. Suppose we have the output level of the function that is 2L plus 5. And let's assume that the amount of labor is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So if you want to find the output level, this means that the output level will take out the function of we plug in 1 to the first equation of output. The left hand side we have the labor units and we have the output. So output 1 will be equals to the labor units we have is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So in order we can find the output level, we plug in the number of input factor of production, that is labor units. For example, for the first labor unit, that is 1, let you plug in 1 to the equation of output. 2L, this will be equals to 2 times 1 plus 5. The answer will be equals to 7. So when we plug in 2, it will be 2 times 2 plus 5. The answer will be equals to 9. The same we apply for this, the third and the last input factor. So we obtain 11, 13, and 15. So that is how we present. So for that case, let's try to look on how, let's jump to our next level to see on the types of production function. So we have several 3 types of production function. The first one is constant return to scale. Second one is increasing return to scale. Third one is decreasing return to scale. Increased return to scale, in this relationship, each additional unit of input results in a larger increase in output than the previous unit. For example, in agriculture, when we apply fertilizer, it may result to an increase in returns only at a small fraction. So increase in return to scale are most explained by what is known as specialization and economies of scale. When you speak about specialization, is whereby you organize the work on the specialist, on the individual professionals, so as to increase efficiency. And economies of scale is where you produce high output with minimal cost. So economies of scales are advantages gained by producers in the form of either reducing average cost of production or increasing gross margins resulting from the size of the business. And decreasing, another types of production function is decreasing time to scale. It is observed when each additional unit of input results into a smaller increase in product than the preceding unit. For example, when the producer doubles the factor of production, output increases less proportional than increase in input. So decreasing time to scale is where the producer increases a small amount of input and results into a smaller, increases a large amount of input and results to a smaller results of output level. So decreasing time to scale is explained by using the concept of diseconomies of scale. And most of the economies of scale occurs on this second type of production, that is decreasing time to scale. So this economies of scale is where producers increase in production by increasing the cost of production. It is the most common form of production in agriculture. So the slope of the curve becomes less and less steep. So this form of production function leads to in law of diminishing returns. So the law of diminishing returns, I hope you understand, when the total product, average product increases, it becomes a minimum point where it will start to decrease. So this is the illustration graph that shows that on a constant on the types of production function. So in the left, we have the increase in time to scale, whereby producers increase more inputs and get large output. And we have the constant time to scale, whereby the increase of input leads to the same proportion increase in output. And we have the right hand side, we have the decreasing time to scale, whereby the producers increasing large input and they obtain a small quantity of output. So to this kind of return to scales, actually they kind of appear different depending on what the results of output the producers obtain after the increase of a certain input factor of production. So that is how we present out the graph on diminishing, on what is known as the types of production functions. So after understanding that, let's jump to law of diminishing returns. Law of diminishing returns state that if equal amount of one variable input, for example labor, are added in the production process, while other inputs, for example capital and land, are kept constant or fixed, total product, marginal product, and the average product will initially increase, but after some points or time they will start declining. So under this theory of law of diminishing returns, try to explain fully that when a producer increases more inputs with the target to increase more output, at the first level, at the first moment of stagnation, it will be possible to increase output. But at the coming time, the output will decline due to more increase of those inputs. This means that there is a time in production whereby increase of input function to bring out the results of output. But there is a moment an increase of input does not actually count the rate to increase of output level. So this is a graph which illustrates fully the diminishing returns law. We have the total product, y-axis, average product and marginal product, and we have the quantity of labor. So the law of diminishing starts to operate at point A, whereby at this point total product is increasing at a decreasing rate. Also average product starts to diminish at point B. And where at point C the total product starts to fall and marginal product is equal to 0. So diminishing returns occur due to the fact that one of the input is fixed and it is applied more in the short run than in the long run. This is because in the short run some inputs are fixed, while in the long run all other factors of production can be increased. So as you can observe out, the law of diminishing starts to operate at point A, where total product is increasing at increasing rate, and at point B is whereby the average product starts to diminish or to decline. And it is where now the marginal product is equal to 0. So actual the marginal product cut across the average product, as you can observe. So the law of diminishing starts to operate at point A, where the marginal product is at maximum. At this point, total product increases at a decreasing rate. Also, average products start to diminish at point B. At point C, total products start to fall. The marginal product is equal to 0. So, as I told you earlier, diminishing returns occur due to the fact that one of the inputs is fixed and it is applied more in the short run. So, in the short run, since there is only one variable which is fixed, and only a single variable, there is only a single value that varies, and other values are kept constant, it is possible to apply for diminishing returns. So let's look on the assumptions of diminishing returns. It assumes that there is both fixed and variable factors of production. It assumes that the technology used is constant, but also all units of the variable factor are homogeneous. It means that they are identical and they can equal, and they are of equal importance. Also, the variable factors are perfectly visible and easier to combine with a fixed factor. So these are limitations of the law of diminishing returns. It is actually not applied when the methods and techniques of production are improved. For example, productivity of land may increase due to improvement in the method of production. So, but also, in the short run, the factors can be variable. For example, adverse change in climate change may affect the land productivities, which is a fixed factor. It is restricted to land only, while in reality it can apply even to other factors of production when they are fixed in supply. So in the case of a virgin or land soil, this law cannot apply because a virgin land or soil can be very productive for a very long period of time without adding any other inputs like fertilizer. For example, in different parts in Morogoro in Tanzania, people have been cultivating maize and rice without applying fertilizers, and the production has not been diminishing. But also, the law does not consider the influence of other factors, which can lead to decline or diminishing in output, like poor health of the labor, manpower, and mismanagement as well. Several numbers of production parameters which are important when analyzing input and output relationships. So these parameters include total product TP, average product AP, marginal product MP, together with the elasticity of production EP. So if you want to analyze the relationships between the input and the output that is produced or to what the producer achieves, you should understand these two concepts. You should understand all of these concepts. Let's begin looking on the total product. Total product, this is the total amount of output produced by all factors of production during the same period of time. So normal TP or total product is normally expressed in physical units such as maybe a bag of maize produced, maybe tons of rice, or any other kind of physical quantities. We have also average product, AP. The average product is defined as the total product in relation to the amount of input used. So AP is given by taking TP, total product, divided by the input used. So we have also marginal product, is the incremental change in the total production as a result of one unit change in input, assuming other inputs are kept constant. So it is given by taking marginal product is equal to the change of total product over change of output. Lastly, also we have elasticity of production, which measures the degree of responsiveness of output in relation to the change of inputs. That is the changing of output level due to change of a given input. So finally, we are going to finalize by looking these table that analyze clearly about these parameters that are applied in production. We are going to look on how we can find the average product and the marginal product. Suppose we have labor 1 up to 10 and we have total product 10 up to 81. In order to find the average product, we normally take out total product over changing of input level. So we normally take the total product over change of the output level, that is L. So this will give out, it will be 10, the K, whereby we have the capital which is constant is equal to 1. As you can observe now, in order we can find the average product for the first black over there. So we have the first space, as you can observe, we take out 10 minus 1. It's where we obtain 10. In order we can find the average product for the second space is where we take out the average product is equal to 24 divided by 1 will be equals to 24. And the same applies to be 42 divided by 1. It will be equals to, the same applies, we take out 42 divided by labor, that is 3. So we take 42 divided by 3, that will give you 16. So the same applies. In order we can find the steady space is where we take 56 divided by 4. This will exactly give us, when we take 56 divided by 4, the input factor, it will be equals to 14. Again, 65 divided by 5, that will be equals to 13. 72 divided by 6, that is equal to 12. 77 divided by 7, that is equal to 11. 80 divided by 8, that is equal to 10. 81 divided by 9 is 9. And 81 divided by 10, the same applies. We obtain, that will give us equals to 8.1, as you can observe. So let's come to the part of marginal product. How can we find the marginal product? Marginal product is given by taking the change of total product divided by the change of input level. It can be labor or capital. So here we are dealing with the input labor. So this will give out the change of total product over change of L. Now the change of total product is given by taking the total product 2 minus the total product 1 minus labor 2 minus labor 1. So in order we can fill the first blank, as you can observe over there, we'll take out the total product, that is 24, that is 42 minus 24 divided by 3 minus 2. So 24, that will give out 24 minus 10 divided by 2 minus 1, that is equal to 14 over 1. So there it will be 14. The same applies, we take 56. So the answer over there will be equals to marginal product is equal to. So it will be equals to 14. So here, there it will be 14. The same applies. We do for the same space. We take out the total product 2 minus total product 1 divided by labor 2 minus labor 1. So it will be 9, 7, there it will be 5. You do the same procedure. You apply the same formula for change of total product over change of L. So you will fill out the blank as you observe. So that is how we do on production parameters. So as you can observe, as we have did, the average product starts from 10 up to 8.1. And there we have the marginal product starting from the blank dash up to 0, as you can observe. Let us discuss about stages of production. Stages of production. This refer to the input and output relation showing total product, average product, and marginal product. So stages of production can be divided into 3 stages. Here we are going to focus on these 3 stages that include the stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. So let's look at illustrative diagram that shows on how the first stage, second stage, and the third stage operates. So at the left y-axis we have the output, that is total product, average product, and marginal product. And at the x-axis we have the quantity of labor. So let's begin to get an analytics on stage 1. Here is whereby at stage 1 it begins from 0 to L1. At this stage, total product is increasing. The total product is increasing at increasing rate, as you can observe, and the average product as well is also increasing. But also the marginal product is increasing, reaches a maximum and then declines. So as you can observe, the marginal product is increasing, starting from 0 to point A, and it cut across the average product, and it's whereby now the marginal product is observed to decline at that point over there. So at the point where it cut across the average product, so the marginal product is declining, and this is the first stage. So at this stage 1, normally marginal product is greater than the average product. This is like to say that at this stage is not regarded as the best stage of production because output is not at maximum. That is, a firm may still get more revenue by increasing output. So at stage 1, marginal product is greater than average product. As you can observe, this implies that there is no extension more to think about increasing or expanding production. At stage 2, it begins from L1 to L2. At this stage, number 2, is whereby now the total product is increasing at a decreasing rate. This means that it will increase and start decreasing. So marginal product decline as well as average product decline as well. And what you need to understand, in stage 2, marginal product is less than average product. This means that it provides a room for more extension of increasing of inputs to produce more output. So at stage number 2, this stage is regarded as the best stage of production because total product is at maximum. So it is the best stage of production than the first stage and the other stages because the total product is at maximum. This means that a producer is having a room to increase inputs and produce more output level. At stage 3, begins from L2, from 0 L2, going beyond of that. So at this stage, number 3, is when the total product is declining and the marginal product is negative. So marginal product is negative, but as total product is declining and the average product is declining as well. At this stage, this is not an ideal stage of production because at this stage, the average cost is rising, and if the price of the output remains the same, then the firm might incur loss. So at this stage, we observe to see the total product is declining and the marginal product is negative. This is because the target of a producer to increase more output level, to extend production has reached a maximum. In any more, the potential that he or she has achieved cannot be increased anymore. So if the producer will force to increase more inputs so as to have a result of more output, he or she will face what is known as diminishing, getting a loss, or in his favor of his stagnations. So let's have a quick review of what we have learned at stage 1. As I told you, it starts from 0 to L1, where the total product is increasing at increasing rate. So average product is also increasing, marginal product is increasing, reaching maximum, and then decline. The marginal product is actually above the average product. So it is not regarded at the best stage of production because output is not at maximum. So that is, a firm may still get more revenue by increasing output. This means that it will have extensive room to produce more output level. At stage 2, as I told you, this stage lies between 0.1 to 0.2 to our graph, as we have observed. So at this stage, total product is increasing at a decreasing rate. So marginal product is declining, and average product decline, and marginal product is less than average product. So, however, this is the basic stage of production because the total product is at maximum. And it is the best stage of production because it provides an extension room for producer to increase more inputs and to have results of more output level, different from the stage 1 where it limits the producer to have more extension. Also, a quick review on stage 3 as we have discussed. At stage 3, that it starts from 0 to going beyond of that. So as we have learned, as we have discussed earlier, few minutes back that at this stage, total product is declining. So marginal product is negative and average product is declining. And actually, as I told you, this stage is not an ideal stage of product. The product is declining. So marginal product is negative and average product is declining. And actually, as I told you, this stage is not an ideal stage of production because at this stage, the average cost is rising. And if the price of the output remains the same, then the firms might incur loss.